Ọ̀kanlọ́lúwa ya Hayyu ya Qayyum alala. Ọba tí kò pé méjì ya Hayyu ya Qayyum alala. Kò pé méjì kò pé mẹ́ta ya Hayyu ya Qayyum alala. Ọba láyé láyé ya Hayyu ya Qayyum alala. Olúwa àtẹ̀pẹ́ ya Hayyu ya Qayyum alala.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونشكره ونستعينه ونعوذ بك من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا ما يهده الله فهو المهتدي. I give all thanks, praise, and adoration to Almighty Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, who has given us the opportunity to see this day. You are highly welcome to another exciting edition of Eternal Bliss, a program put together by Nasrullah Al-Fatih Society to teach the world about Deen al-Islam. My name is Kafayat Oyewo Oyelere, and I have right here with me a very powerful personality. She is a very beautiful Muslimah, an intelligent orator. She's a Dawah worker, and she's of course the Dawah officer for women in Nasrullah Al-Fatih Society worldwide, and that is Alhaja Sadiyat Onike Aziz. Alhaja Sadia, you are welcome to the show. Please say salam alaikum to our viewers.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a big privilege.
Honestly, it's my pleasure. I'm so happy. You are looking at someone who happens to be very intelligent and one of the greatest Dawah worker as far as women, the women world is concerned in the whole of Nigeria. May Allah continue to preserve you for the best.
Amen.
All right, right now we will be taking a break, and when we come back, we will be discussing the topic is the voice of women Hawra, that is private in Islam. Stay tuned. You're welcome back, mashallah. So like I said, we know that this topic is actually a very controversial one, and today we are going to learn, relearn, and unlearn. Halaja, what do you understand by the voice of women being Hawra, that is private in Islam? Because most of the times when you go out to gatherings and then you discover people say, hey, you are a woman, you have to keep quiet.
Thank you so much, Rodrito. The voice of women being Hawra, if you look at that word, Hawra, in Islam, in Arabic it means private. That is the voice of women private. Is it true that they cannot speak in public? If we look at Islam, we see the roles women have played in Islam, and we look at our present day communities, our present day society, and we see how women have been deprived of, making their contribution to the development of the society. Then we cannot but ask, how did the Prophet practice this when he was alive? How did the companions carry on after the Prophet? Were women allowed to take part in community development, or they were locked in their houses? Or even when they are in congregation and things are going on, do they ask women to write their questions? Because these are what we see in our gatherings today. That you see, when women have questions or concerns concerning what is going on, they will ask women to write their questions because they should not speak in public, according to them. Then you ask, what about those women who cannot write? Will their voices be heard? Will they be able to contribute to community development? So that is why it is very important we talk about this topic, and we'll see what Islam says about it, what the Quran says, what the Prophet did during his time, what the companions did, for us to have something.
Exactly. So we have even seen people going against the fact that we are appearing on the screen. Some people say, why do they have to be on the screen? Why do they have to be on the television discussing anything around Islam when they are women?
Yes. Thank you so much, Sister Kafaya. Now, if you look at this topic, it's one of the gender issues that is causing a lot of misconception in this religion.
Sure.
Talking about the voice of women, talking about even women coming out at all, seclusion, puda. So polygamy, all these gender issues are bringing up a lot of misconception and making the people out there feel that women are oppressed in Islam. That in Islam women cannot talk, women cannot be active in the public space. So it is important that we look at this issue. For these issues, we have seen that we have two opinions from our scholars concerning these issues, and they all have their evidences that they have put down. The first opinion says the voice of women is aura, that they cannot speak in public. So what are their evidences? They put forward that the Prophet ﷺ said during Salat that women cannot correct the Imam by saying Subhanallah, like men would do, that what women should do is to clap. The second point they put forward is that women customary pray in silence, and this is because their voice is private. The third point, they said in Quran 33 verse 33, where Allah says women should stay at home. We have Quran 33 to 32, Quran 33, 33. These two verses were put forward. One, Allah says the women should stay at home, addressing the prophet's wives, that they should stay at home and not do this one-time display like the time of Jahiliyyah. Yes. And the second one says women should not speak in a soft way, that they should speak in a customary way. Kuna kaulan ma'rufa. So other points they gave is that women do not call the adhan, women do not, women also do not, another point also is that the Prophet ﷺ, they said the Prophet said, Sautu Mariat aura, that the voice of women is aura. And also that the Prophet also said in one of his hadith that a woman is aura. So these points were all given by the proponents of this opinion that women should not speak in public in Islam. So the other opinion, which are the opinion of those saying women can speak, that these points are actually not putting up a prohibition against women speaking in Islam. So they took each of these facts, analyzed it, and brought out their own stand. The first opinion, which is that women say, women clap to correct the Imam, why the men say Subhanallah. What happened? What brought about the clapping of hand and the Prophet saying this thing? The Prophet ﷺ went out to Kuba to settle a set of two families that had rancor. So it was time for Asri and the Prophet was not back. So Bilal went to Abu Bakr and knew that he should lead them in prayer because the Prophet was not back. So Abu Bakr got up and the prayer started. But as the prayer started, the Prophet ﷺ came in and made his way forward. So immediately people saw him coming in, they started clapping. So he got forward, Abu Bakr stepped back and he took over the prayer and he finished the prayer. So when he finished the prayer, he was not accusing the men with that, why are you clapping like women? That women are supposed to clap, you are supposed to correct the Imam by saying Subhanallah. Also, he also told Abu Bakr, why did you have to step back? Why didn't you finish the prayer? I was beckoning on you to finish the prayer. And Abu Bakr said that it does not behoove the son of Abu Kuhafa to lead prayer while the Prophet ﷺ was around. So those who are saying this does not mean that women cannot speak in public. That this is peculiar to only prayer alone. That it is peculiar to only prayer alone, that when the Imam is reciting and it's something to be corrected, that the men should say Subhanallah, the women should clap. Allah. Then those also using this point also gave another additional one, that if the Imam is reciting, in the course of recitation, if he forgets what the next verse is, and among the congregation it is only the woman there that can correct the Imam, that the woman can correct the Imam by continue that recitation for the Imam to pick it up. Wow. That all this happened during the time of the Prophet. So it is not a general opinion, a general view stamping that women cannot even speak during prayer. But in situations like this that warrant it, a woman can correct the Imam if it has to do with she being the only person that can correct the Imam in that case. Then they also showed that in the house of Allah, in the mosque, women spoke during the time of the Prophet.
Sallallahu
That stand is only pertaining to Salat alone, and that outside Salat, women spoke in the mosque. That whenever the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam finished the Salat, he would talk generally to the men and talk generally to the women. And in some cases, he will ask them questions, and the women too will answer. That if it was a prohibition that women should not speak in the mosque, those things wouldn't have happened. The Prophet will not be asking them questions that warrant them answering. Then also something happened during the time of the companions, in the mosque, that Umar wanted to fix the particular price for Mahar, the bridal gift. So when Umar fixed this price, a woman stood up in the mosque to debate with Umar why the price Umar radiallahu anhu picked was not tenable. And at the end of the day, what did Umar say? Umar said that a woman debated with Umar and outdid Umar in this debate. So which means eventually Umar gave in to what the woman mentioned when she cleared that what Umar fixed was not correct. So all this took place in the mosque. So right in the mosque, women spoke during the time of the Prophet. Right in the mosque, women spoke during the time of the companions. And even concerning prayer, women can correct if we don't have any man around that can correct the imam when he makes mistakes in his recitation.
Mashallah. Wow, you have done justice to that question. And honestly, I'm sure our viewers must have learned quite a number of things. We have different school of thoughts in Islam, and she has taken us through both school of thoughts. Of course, when we have different school of thoughts like that, we do not say one is correct and the other is not. But the truth is, if they have to speak, they should speak. But that will now take me to the next question, that if eventually she has to talk, do we have etiquette as regards?
Thank you so much. Part of the points listed for prohibition, according to those proponents that says women should not speak, they put up Quran chapter 33, Surah Al-Ahzab verse 33, and Quran 33 verse 32. In these two verses, Allah asks women, speaking to the Prophet's wives, and we know this injunction also applies to all women, that they should stay quietly in their houses, that they shouldn't be doing display like the Jahiliyyah period, like the Jahiliyyah period. And 32 says, do not speak in a soft way. The proponent of women can speak in public are saying that verse, Quran 33 verse 30, is not saying don't talk. It is not a prohibition, but rather Allah is explaining how women should speak. That the verse is saying, Wakuna kola marufa, that is, speak in a customary way. Do not be over soft in your speech.
Like,
exactly. Don't use the one we call bedroom voice,
yeah,
sonorous voice. That use your normal voice. So they are saying that verse is rather talking about how women should talk, and not that women should not talk. And the issue of women staying at home, we have seen so many verses telling us, and hadith of the Prophet telling us that women went out, took part in expeditions with the Prophet. Women took part in a lot of community development, teaching, learnings. Then we also have so many hadiths recited by women.
yes,
The wives of the Prophet recited, we got so many hadiths orally, from Aisha, from Habiba, Salama, all of them gave so many hadiths. That if women were not to speak, these hadiths wouldn't have come from our mothers, our Mumini, to help the humanity that we have today. Also, Aisha led prayer, called the Adhan. Salama led prayers, called the Adhan. That there was a time the women were calling the Adhan to pray, and somebody was telling Abdullah ibn Umar, who was the head then, that why not stop these women from calling the Adhan, from doing this? And Abdullah ibn Umar asks, you want me to stop them from calling to the worship of Allah? You want me to stop them from calling to the worship of Allah? So one is who asks that if the men had not heard the Adhan being called, there wouldn't have been such a statement of stop them. And if it was a prohibition, of course, it wouldn't be a matter of debate, a matter of saying I can't stop them because they are calling to the worship of Allah.
That's becoming more controversial. Like I want to believe I'm hearing this. I've actually learned quite a number
the warning here is that you have to do this. You don't have to get to your home and start saying, we have heard, they have given us that women can know.
Okay.
The environment matters. That when women are together and they are only one in that group, and they need to lead themselves in prayer. Of course, I shall let them in prayer, staying in the middle.
Yes.
So you do this with diplomacy. You don't have to carry the microphone and start shouting. That will cause a lot of commotion. But within themselves, to the hearing of themselves, they can lead themselves in prayer. And while leading themselves in prayer, they can recite aloud. That the Prophet ﷺ said, pray as you see me pray. Those saying women can talk. Say, the Prophet ﷺ said, pray as you see me pray. The Prophet never said, men, pray as you see me pray. And we know among these prayers, we have done some that are recited aloud, some that are recited, that you don't recite aloud. So pray as you see me pray means women can also pray those prayers that are recited aloud, reciting it aloud to their hearing.
To their own hearing.
To their hearing.
Yes,
not using microphone because it can cause commotion.
You know, sometimes ago there was a woman, I'm sure it's not in Nigeria anyway, it was outside the country. Maybe probably she had this kind of lecture and then there was a misconception. So she had to go to the mosque and then she had congregation of men behind her and she became the imam. She was praying and it became a very controversial issue to the world then.
I think the ideal that we saw from what the prophet's wives practice is that women led women. Not women leading a congregation of both. Women led women and they stay in the same role with them. And look at, when the Quran chapter 2 verse 282 says women can give witness, isn't it?
Yes.
2 to 1.
Yes.
So when the woman is giving that witness, is it sign language she's going to use? So these are some of the points put forward by those that say women can talk.
That's very
that
true.
there is no clear-cut text in the Quran stating categorically that women cannot speak in public. Women cannot take part in community development. We have a lot of issues in our community that requires both. That is fardu kifaya, that requires joint effort by women, by men. We need people to teach our children. We need people women in the medical field. We need women in the security field. Now, when you are traveling, a woman should be the one to search a woman. So we need women in a lot of activities in our public space.
Especially in medicine.
That is it. A gynecologist. We need women obstetricians, women gynecologists, women in so many fields. And they can do a lot of contribution. During the time of the Prophet, women, even Umar, appointed a woman as the head of the market. She appointed Shafa bint Abdullah bin Abdul Shams. As today we hear of Iyaloja. Yes. During the time of Umar appointed a woman as the head of the marketplace. And do you know, concerning even this recitation, women reciting Quran aloud, somebody asked Imam Malik that when a woman is reciting the Quran and she gets to the point of prostration, should the men around that place prostrate with her? Imam Malik mentioned that it is only when a man is reciting and leading a congregation that those in the congregation should prostrate with the man. That men don't need to prostrate when a woman is reciting. Then one will now ask, those that put this point forward are saying, it is because the woman reciting could be heard by those around. That is the reason the question came up. Imam Malik did not answer this question by saying, no, that woman is not even supposed to recite aloud in the first place. Wow. All he did was clarifying that it is only when a man is leading others in congregation that those in the congregation should prostrate with the man. Wow. And Aisha, there was a verse of the Quran, Radiallahu Anha, Quran 24 verse 15. It was revealed concerning Aisha to exonerate her concerning an allegation of adultery, fornication that was levied against her. That they said Aisha will be reciting this verse all over, all the time, just to feel happy, to feel that relief from all she went through when that allegation was leveled against her. So all this, the Prophet ﷺ never said, no, don't recite Allah. Also, an example put forward also is Quran 88 verse 1. That there was a time the Prophet ﷺ was passing through the house of a lady, and the lady was reciting this verse and reciting it aloud. And the Prophet never said, oh woman, your voice is loud, lower your voice. No. The Prophet never kicked against it. And we know all this, that whatever the Prophet did not kick against, whatever he told us, whatever he did, are examples for us to follow.
Allahu Akbar. Our dear viewers, I'm sure you will agree with me that Imolola Dini Ogbongbe. And before we started the event, the program, I told you that we have to sit right to learn, relearn and unlearn. And I must confess, I know you must have learned quite a lot, because myself, I have learned quite a number of things. So my question right here is, when people with different views now meet in gatherings, how do we avoid controversies?
Thank you so much.
Or yes, I'll need you to speak a little bit about the ethics of disagreement.
Okay. Now, if you look at Islam generally, we have a lot of issues where we have scholars differing and giving us their reasons. And on this topic, especially, you have Hanbali, Imam Hanbali, and Imam Shafi agreeing to the permission that women can talk in public. Imam Maliki also, from the different examples and questions we have raised, does not have any clear-cut prohibition against women speaking in public. And the Quran verses, there is no clear-cut Quran verse that is also saying women cannot speak in public. So where we now have people differing with whatever points they have given, this is normal in Islam. That scholars differ on some issues does not mean it is creating room for disunity. No. Unity must not be compromised. And the thing is, when scholars make effort on these issues to arrive at rulings, because the Prophet ﷺ is no longer with us. When he was with us, whenever they had controversies on issues, they wrote to him and he clears them. And a lot of times Allah will reveal verses to clear whatever is in the air. So now the Prophet is not there. The scholars are making effort, using evidences they got from the Quran, hadith they are exposed to. These scholars lived in different areas. They are exposed to different hadith. And as a result of that, you're going to know that they will sometimes come up with different rulings. But then, when the scholars make efforts and they get the ruling they bring out at the end of the day as correct, Allah gives them two rewards. And when they make efforts and the ruling they bring out is not correct, Allah still gives them one reward for making effort at correcting issues. And Imam Shafi noted that he believes he is right in as much as he feels the other person is wrong. And he believes he may be wrong in as much as the other person may be right. Do you know what he concluded with? That he wants to, he believes he would, see the light through the person. See the light through that person means he has gained knowledge. For us today, if you are the proponent of something and it is wrong, it's like you feel ashamed. But for him, he saw that as adding to his own knowledge. So in Islam, when scholars differ, even scholars themselves don't think they are infallible. They believe they can be wrong because only Allah knows it all. So whatever view you are holding, don't disrespect the other person with his view. Go along with whatever you can meet Allah with on that day. Stand before Allah and say, okay, I took this view and I am meeting you comfortably with this view. There are so many things, so many options available. You can look at, okay, the proponent of the two opinions or three opinions, who is the specialist? You can decide to go with the specialist. Okay, what about the mazhab being used in your area? Like in West Africa, we use Imam Maliki, the Maliki school of thought. You can decide to go with your mazhab. You can decide to go with your local imams. You can also decide to go with the one that
they are not going against the teachings of the Quran.
Exactly. You can also decide to go with the one that support the maqasid, the objectives of Sharia, so as not to go against Quran and Sunnah.
All right, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, this is ordinarily beautiful. I must confess, it's a learning segment. Jazakumullah khairan, Alaja Sadiyat Unike Aziz. If you are just joining us, as she has been speaking on the topic, is the voice of women, Hara. And I must tell you that we have learned quite a lot. May Allah continue to preserve you for the deen, inshallah. Let me use this opportunity to tell us that the last 10 days of Ramadan, Nasrul Al-Fatih Society will be having an itikaf at HQ LSSM, that's Lagos State Secretariat Mosque Extension in Alausa, Ikeja, Lagos. And then our radio and television programs hold on MITV at 3:45 a.m. to 4:15 a.m. every day. And Nasfat Hara, Eternal Bliss. For Radio Lagos 107.5 FM, we are always on air by 5:10 p.m. to 5:35 p.m. daily throughout the month of Ramadan. Thank you very much for joining us on this episode of Eternal Bliss. My name is Kafayat Oyewo Oyelere, and I've been together with Alaja Sariat Onike as this, discussing today's topics. I'm looking forward to see you tomorrow, same time, same station, inshallah, bikudratilai. Salam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
يا حي يا قيوم على لا إله إلا الله